Hi everyone, and welcome to this Q&A. Again, thank you so much for helping me reach 75,000 subscribers. I really do appreciate all your support. Do you keep track in any way of previous cases that you featured, either for your own personal knowledge or for a possible update? With the number of cases I've covered at this point, it's really hard to keep up with all of them. There are certain Facebook pages for some of the cases I've covered that I do check every once in a while. If I do happen to hear about an update in a particular case, I will go back into the description box and put an update, or I have made one update video about a case, but I'm definitely behind on looking up cases and actively seeking out updates. Do you like to research solved or unsolved crimes? I like both for different reasons. I do like researching unsolved crimes because I like spreading the information to people, and also just because it's interesting to me to think about the different theories and try to think through the case to try to figure out what might have happened. When it comes to solved cases, I definitely am more interested in the cold cases that were solved after a long period of time. I think you can probably tell that by looking at the videos I've made. As much as I wish those families could have gotten answers or justice as soon as possible, for some reason it just helps me keep faith, especially when I do research unsolved crimes, that eventually people can get answers and that it doesn't matter how much time passes, there's still a chance for families to get answers and for justice to be served. Did you let your boyfriend listen to your channel yet? He's actually not my boyfriend anymore. The day after I posted the last Q&A, we got engaged, so I guess technically no, I haven't let my boyfriend listen to my channel yet because I don't have a boyfriend anymore. I have a fiance. But he has seen the channel since then, for all of you who are asking. It was kind of a funny story of how he came to know my username, but I don't know if the person who asked this question really wants the whole story time. If you are interested in that story, I guess someone can ask about it if we have a Q&A for 100,000 subscribers. Are you interested in case suggestions from your audience? I am. I don't have a good way of... I know some people have a system of submitting them. If you do want to suggest one to me, you can email it to me. If you go into the About tab on my channel, you have to click on view email address and do a little reCAPTCHA thing to see it, but you can just send them to that address if you have any suggestions. What apps do you use to make your videos? So I use Audacity to do my audio recording, and then I use Filmora to make the actual video. All of the videos I made prior to being sponsored by Filmora, I made using iMovie, but I definitely think the quality of video I put out is better with Filmora, so I was really lucky to get that sponsorship. Continuing to use Filmora wasn't part of the sponsorship. I just happened to learn about it through being sponsored by them, and I've preferred to keep using it since I learned about it. I also use Canva for a lot of my design work. Now that I use Filmora, I don't need to use it as much when I make the actual videos, but I still use it to make my thumbnails and stuff. It's available as a mobile app, or you can just go to canva.com. It's definitely a really helpful and easy to use site if you need to do any kind of design projects. Would you ever cover cases from countries outside the US? This one I kind of combined a few questions into one. Someone was asking if I'd specifically do Australia, which I have done a couple Australian cases. When I started out this channel, I didn't want the whole channel to be American cases because I feel like in the true crime community, cases from America kind of get the most coverage. So when I started out, that was something I had in mind, was looking at cases from countries outside the US. The past few months, I haven't really done as good of a job at staying on top of that. Do you find it hard sometimes to turn off your brain and get to bed after doing all the research for the videos you put out? Yes, but that's sort of naturally my personality anyway. I usually am very anxious. I have a hard time getting to sleep. I have a hard time not thinking about a million things at once. Starting this channel hasn't made that worse. It's just sometimes it changes what I'm thinking about when I'm struggling to get to sleep. If you were to cover any other topic or make any other type of video, what would it be? I would probably make some sort of history channel. I don't know specifically what kind of channel I would have because there are just so many different categories within the category of history that I'm interested in. So I don't know exactly how I would frame the channel so that everything would kind of be on topic beyond just saying, oh, this is a history-based channel. Are you intentionally doing cases recently with a solved theme because of the holidays? No, not intentionally, although I guess that is it is sort of a nice theme to have going into the holiday season. Like when I did the Mandy Stavic case, I did it when I did because I realized I could do it, have it come out on the anniversary of her death, and the rest of the videos, not all of them, but a lot of the ones I'm going to be doing are more like year-end, like wrap-up videos. So I guess it sort of ties into like New Year's Eve. But I did a cold cases solved in 2018 last year, and I'm going to do another one of those for my last video of this year. And then the disappearances that were solved in 2019 was sort of a similar thing, just sort of wrapping up the year. Has your cat made any more appearances in any of your other recordings? Probably. The first few weeks when I was making videos, he wouldn't like it when I'd go into my closet to record, but he'd eventually calm down, and then after a while he seemed to kind of get used to it, but the past few weeks he sort of reverted, and he really does not like it when I'm in here alone trying to record. So I have had to, like I record in a closet, so instead of just keeping the door to the closet closed, I've had to keep the door to the room that the closet is in closed, which he does not like. He doesn't like not being able to get wherever he wants. But a few weeks ago, like I had 7 minutes of footage, and 6 minutes of it was me talking to the cat, trying to get him to not scratch at the door, or I tried letting him be in here with me, but he kept getting into things. I almost wish I'd kept that footage in case I ever wanted to make like a blooper reel or anything. The beginning of this video, like the first 5 minutes of me trying to record this video, I had to cut out because it was him just scratching at the door. Have you ever personally been aware of a true crime in your family history? No, I'm not aware of any. People in my family have died in a lot of unusual ways, though, which I guess is kind of interesting. But none crime-related as far as I know. Do you have any tips for organizing a research project? My main one is just figure out how your brain works and what works best for you. Just your thought process. If anyone ever saw like how I organize my notes and how I get my scripts together, or how I worked on my research papers in college, it would make no sense to them. It's a little bit all over the place, but it makes sense in my head. Basically, I've always looked at big projects in like little pieces, so I come up with like little pieces and then I piece them together, if that kind of makes sense. But that might not work for somebody else. You really just have to kind of think about your thought process and how things work for you. So I guess my advice would just to be self-aware and really try and think about what kind of organization methods work for you, even if it doesn't fall in line with conventional advice for how you're supposed to keep a paper or a project organized. If you could magically speak to any missing person or unsolved murder victim to interview them, who would you choose? I would say either Noah Pippin or Lee Cutler. Both of those are cases that have just always kind of stuck with me. Technically, Noah's case is solved. They've found his remains, but there's just so many questions I still have about his mindset and what he was thinking in the days leading up to his death. Lee is still missing, and it's one of those cases that really sticks with me and I have a real emotional investment in. And again, his mindset in the days leading up to his disappearance is a big part of the case. So being able to speak with them plays a bigger part than like other mysteries where you could get answers based on like physical evidence. Those are two cases where I think I need to actually speak to the people involved. Again, thank you all so much for helping me reach this milestone. When I started this channel, the idea of having 100,000 subscribers seemed like a completely unrealistic goal, and now it's something that could happen very, very quickly for this channel. So thank you all so much for that. And if you all want, maybe I'll be back with another Q&A when we reach 100,000. Thanks.